applause. Keeping it local here, Jake lives with us here in Hamilton. He's up at Art Space Lofts, but we're about to lose him. He's about to take a cruise ship all the way to Sydney, Australia. Rather tempted to be going with the man. So he needs a tour guide, translator. I'm your guy. Call me anytime. So thank you, Jake. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Fitton Center for Creative Arts here in beautiful downtown Hamilton, Ohio. My name is Ian Mackenzie Thurley. I'm the executive director here, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the opening of our 2022-2023 season. And we're pretty excited about it. Yes, you can applaud. Yes, there you go. Get up, whoop, do the thing. We're very, very excited to have you here today. I would like to thank our good friends at the Ohio Arts Council, Arts Wave in Cincinnati, the City of Hamilton, and the Hamilton Community Foundation for the continued support of the Fitton Center. Thank you very much. We do appreciate you. And I can't say it enough, but most particularly through some challenging years of the last couple of years of being right there with us. To our good friends at TV Hamilton, our media partners for Celebrating Self, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. You may have seen me in a inflatable kiddie pool for a few weeks. That is entirely their fault. And we really appreciate their support. It was a great way for us to kick off season launch. But they're amazing partners. Speaking of amazing partners, did we all enjoy lunch today? Was that fabulous? I am incredibly hungry. That is our good friends, Two Women in a Kitchen, who are our catering partners here. So if you're looking for a catered event, either here at the Fitton Center or elsewhere, yes, somebody's really enjoying lunch. I like that. Please hear Kirsten and her crew. They really do look after the Fitton Center so very, very well. And we have friends here from Mercy Health from Fairfield. We appreciate it. They're our sponsors today for this event. Please do put your hands together for all of our partners today. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. It takes a lot to make the world go around here at the Fitton Center, and our incredible sponsors and donors and supporters really do help with that. So much going on at the Fitton Center. We kick off things downstairs in the theater this Saturday night with a Talking Heads Burning Down the House show. There's a 9-piece band, projection, light, smoke, all of those good things. It's going to be a fantastic show. We'll take you right back to the late 70s and 80s in New York City, right here in downtown Hamilton. There's no other show like it here in the greater Cincinnati area. So that is Saturday night. And then with Digging Up Dessa, we have our first Fitton Family Fridays with our good friends from Lexington Children's Theatre coming up at the end of the month. And our Cut Fire Fuse exhibition runs through to the end of this week. So the galleries are open downstairs. It is an amazing exhibition. I know I'm completely biased, but go down there and check that out on our second and first floors, because that disappears very early next month. So excited to have you all here, excited to be here today. Obviously, this is the start of the NFL season this week. Might be tomorrow night. There might be two fantastic teams playing. The current world champions and the presumptive world champions are playing tomorrow night. I know how to throw it. I know how to sing to my audience. But we won't mention any names. Anyway, the NFL season starts this week. So we thought a fantastic opportunity to bring someone in who obviously is an icon of NFL football, icon of Cincinnati football, and in fact, of this region, in Mr. Ickey Woods. Not only an incredible player, but there's lots of incredible players. But as we've seen last year, when it comes to have somebody to represent the heart and the soul of a city and the heart and the soul of a football club, they pick one man to be there and to represent this team and to represent this region. And that says a great deal about who he is as a man, as a part of this community, and what he's given not only to football, but to the good fans of Cincinnati. And I think that's been really appreciated and seen throughout the community. In fact, seen throughout the football community throughout the United States. And I think that is pretty exciting for us here and for him and his family. But as you know, we're here to talk about, not about football, but about real life and the real challenges that Ickey and his family have faced and are enduring and continue to endure, but again, taking that foot forward to help other people, to help other families, to take this community forward. And we felt here at the Fitton Center that was a very, very important story to tell. So without any further ado, it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the stage the man, the legend, Mr. Ickey Woods.
I really probably didn't need the mic, but I'm going to take it anyway, guys. How's everybody doing today? Wonderful, wonderful. First of all, I want to thank the Fitness Center for having me out, to kind of tell my story. Matt, good friend of mine, we go way back, called me up and asked me would I come out and kind of talk about the Jovante Woods Foundation, and I said I would love to. And I got with Ian and seen what a great venue this is, what a great opportunity for me to come and talk about something that's real near and dear to my heart. But first of all, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My birth-given name is Elbert, E-L-B-E-R-T, Lee Woods. I grew up with that name, and when I was 1, my older brother sitting there with the camera was 2, couldn't pronounce Elbert, so he used to call me Ickey all the time. And so to make it simpler for him and me, my mom right there, Sylvia, the joy of my heart, the one who brought me into this world, she started calling me Ickey. And it's kind of ironic, we grew up, Koki and Ickey was our names coming up. So when I was going to school, when you go to school and you do roll call, I didn't know my name was Elbert. I grew up being Ickey all the time. Every time somebody talked to me, it was Ickey this, Ickey that, Ickey, Ickey, Ickey. So we're in class, and the teacher is calling names, was doing roll call, and then she gets to my name and she says Elbert, and I'm looking around the class like, who is she talking to? And I think I was the only kid left, and so she said, she was asking me, she said, what is your name? I said, my name is Ickey Woods. And she was like, okay. And she was okay with that. So, but I went home and I said, Mom, is my name Elbert? She was like, yeah, baby, I'm sorry. Your name is Elbert. So I got teased a lot coming up, but I was more of a bigger kid, so I didn't get teased a whole lot. Everybody called me Ickey, and if anybody called me Elbert, they would get beat up, so they knew not to use my real name. But as I went through school and came up, and I grew up in a one-parent home, I really didn't have my dad, so all I really had was my mom. It was my mom, me, and my brother. And she did everything that she could, being a single mom and raising 2 boys. And, she went hungry so me and my brother could eat. So, I praise that to this day, that my mom did everything that she could to make sure me and my brother had something to eat. And, I could never, ever, ever take that for granted. So you guys give my mom a round of applause, please. And so growing up with her, it was great. And, I grew up, we were on welfare, we were in a poverty-stricken neighborhood. So all I seen pretty much coming up was the big time dope dealers going around with the big cars and, having all the money and the flashy things. And lo and behold, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to have the cash, all the money, the big cars, and things like that. But I was blessed with the talent to play football. And so I had a good football thing coming up. I can remember when I was 9 years old, I was going into my first I was 8, going in to sign up for my first football team. And what happens is when you go up to the person, they will ask you, what's your age? The whole night before I practiced, 2/28/66 was my birthday. 2/28/66, 2/28/66, February 28, 1966, 2/28/66. So I'm in line, I'm still practicing 2/28/66, 2/28/66. So I'm gonna be ready when this guy asks me what's my birthday. I'm going to be ready. So 2/28/66 was my turn to get up there, and the guy said, what's your birthday? And guys, I froze. I couldn't remember my birthday. I really couldn't. I don't know why, but I couldn't remember my birthday, so I didn't get to play when I was 8 years old. So I left and, I went home the next year. I was 9. He asked me when was my birthday. I was 2/28/66. I'm ready to play some football now. And so I played through started playing when I was 9. Realized that, when I was coming up, I was a little bigger than everybody else. So I had a little talent. And so I went up, and then I went to middle school, and I played my 9th grade year at a 9th grade school called Sequoia. And I was killing it, guys. I was having a great time. I had one of my little buddies who every game, that's when they was first coming out with the McDonald's. McDonald's was big back then. And so the guy would say, hey, man, if you get a touchdown, I get you a Big Mac. You get another touchdown, I get you a big fry. You get another touchdown, I get you a large soda. So lo and behold, I got my meal at the end of the game, because I was out there getting 3 and 4 touchdowns a game, and I was having fun, as a kid. And then I went off to high school, and I went to a school called Roosevelt. I was a 10th grader. My brother was a 12th grader, and we were going to play on the same football team coming up. I was elated. That was my big brother. I wanted to play with him. I wanted to have a lot of fun. And during one practice, he sprained his ankle, a high ankle sprain. So he couldn't play. That year. So they took me. I was a sophomore, starting varsity. So I started varsity my sophomore year. Then I went to Roosevelt. Then I transferred over to Edison, which was a school over there in our neighborhood. By this time, I'm 16, 17 years old, and I got into doing things that I shouldn't have done as a kid. I started, selling drugs. Started off selling weed, then I vamped up, and that was right around the time the crack cocaine came into the play. So I started selling that too, making good money. But I was fortunate enough that I got a scholarship to UNLV, and so I went off to college, and most of my college days I sold drugs, because that's what I thought it was all about, is selling drugs and trying to make the money and having the big cars and everything. And then I had one of my closest buddies who was real diehard to me. We was like brothers, We went to UNLV together, and so at this time, I go back home and I tell him I've already made it up in my mind. I'm going into my senior year. I've done nothing at all as far as football at the University in Nevada, Las Vegas. I was there for 3 years, and I had 2 kids already by this time, and so I was trying to figure out a way where I could make money to provide for my kids. And so I go back home, and I see my buddy at the park. I say, hey, man, I'm ready. Let's put a game plan together. I'm ready to get in this thing with both feet. Let's make it happen. So he said, all right, dog, I'll call you later on tonight, and we'll get together tomorrow. It's cool. So I'm in the bed, I'm asleep. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. I get a call. It's from one of my lady friends in his hometown. He lived in Hanford. I was in Fresno. And she said, Andre got killed last night. Huh? She said, Andre got killed last night. I said, what do you mean? You got to be kidding me. No, he got killed last night. So the next morning, about 8 o'clock in the morning, I call his brother, Alvin. Hey, man, what's up? Where Dre at? And he's on the other end of the line, and he's crying. Man, they killed Dre last night. They killed Dre. I said, who did? I don't know. I said, well, what happened? I said, I don't know, but they shot him 19 times and cut his throat. And I was like, whoa, what they did what? He said, they shot him 19 times and cut his throat. I said, whoa, excuse my language. Oh, shit, that ain't for me. No, sir, I can't do that. And so I turn around, I go back to school, and I have a year to make good on playing football. And so I really didn't like school. I wasn't that keen on school. The only reason I did school is because it enabled me to play football. And so I knew I had to get my schoolwork done, because if I didn't get my schoolwork done, I couldn't play. And I love playing football. So I definitely was going to get my schoolwork done. And so I go back to school, and I'm the normal Ickey. I'm running late. I was supposed to be back to school on Monday. I'll probably get back to school on Tuesday. And I go to the mess hall, the dining hall, and I'm in there getting ready to eat my lunch, and a guy comes up to me and tells me, son, take that hat off. And I look over at this guy. Now, I don't know this guy from Adam. And so I look over at him, and I guess he can tell by the look in my face that I was getting ready to say something fly to him, or I was getting ready to say something disrespectful to him. So he said, I'm John Montgomery. I'm the new running back coach. And so, oh, okay. All right, coach. Take my hat off, set it on the table. He said, I want to see you in my office in 15 minutes. So he takes off, chow down my food, run to the football complex, which was on the other side of the campus. But, you know, back then, 19, 20 years old, you got a little wherewithal. You can run a little bit. So I ran to the other side of campus and got there and went into his office. He sat me down. He said, son, sit down. He said, I've heard a lot of bad things about you. He said, but I'm not going to go on none of that. I'm going to go on square one right here, right now, from today. He said, I just want to ask you one question. Do you want to play in the NFL? You know, guys, I looked at him. I'm like, Coach, what young guy does not want to play in the NFL? He says, well, I'll tell you what. If you want to play in the NFL, if you give me 100% and do everything I tell you to do, I guarantee you'll be a first or second round draft choice. I'm looking at him like, first or second round draft choice? What? Now, guys, you got to understand, I hadn't done nothing in 3 years. I was at UNLV for 3 years, and I rushed for a total of 400 yards in 3 years. So that is absolutely, positively nothing. And so I said, well, what do I got to lose? At that time, I had 2 kids, had a girl back at home, and so I had to provide for my baby. So I said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat, sleep, and shit football, period. Make sure I get my schoolwork done. And so I did everything he told me to do, and every week back then you had to get what they call the USA Today. And you have to go to the sports section, and you have to see the nation's leading passer, the nation's leading rusher, the nation's leading catcher, and so every Tuesday we would meet in his office, and we would go over each week where we were on the top. I think they had the top 15 as far as the rusher, the passer, and the receiving yards. And so we get to Pacific. I beat Pacific up for 256 yards. So the next time we go to the chart, I'm number 13. So, okay, we making waves. We making waves. Next week, we play another team. I hit them for 208 yards. Boom. Now I jump up to number 8. I say, okay, we moving. Next team, I rushed for 89 yards that game. So, bam, that moved me up to 6. I said, oh, okay, now we need a big game so we can get in that top 5. We get in that top 5, we there. So the next week, we're playing, I think, San Jose State. I hit San Jose State for 202, I think I hit them for. Bam, we get to the paper, number 2. I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, at number 2. Got 1 game left. The guy who was ahead of me, he had already played his last game. So I got 1 game left to become the nation's leading rusher. I need 184 yards to become the nation's leading rusher. So we're playing Northern Illinois. First half, I'm sitting out there, and coach is talking to me. He's like, come on, he just called me War Daddy. Come on, War Daddy, what's going on out there? So the first half, I have 33 yards. We going at halftime. And he comes up to me. He said, listen here, Ward Daddy. He said, you trying too hard. Relax. Let the game come to you. Stop trying to do stuff that you don't normally do. And just relax and play football. Okay, all right, coach, all right. So we had a little Statue of Liberty play where the quarterback faked like he's throwing the ball. Boom, and hands it off to me. Boom, I take off. Now, I run the ball down to the 5-yard line. Now, at halftime, we're down 31-10. So I scored 2 touchdowns second half. Now we get down to the 5-yard line. I need 4 yards to become the nation's leading rusher, and I need 5 yards for a touchdown to tie the score up. So we call a play called the 54 belly. So I bounce it inside. I sweep around the outside. I see the linebacker coming, so it's just me and the linebacker. I got to beat the linebacker to the end zone. So I get around the corner, and I'm going in there, and I used to wear this big neck brace. And so he grabbed my neck brace, and he's pulling me back, and then I snap out of it, and next thing I know, it's just all end zone. So I walk into the end zone, hold my hands up, become the nation's leading rusher, you know. And so that was so that was awesome. And I get the nation's leading rusher, and then we go through that, and then I start really working out because, hey, now I'm leading the nation in rushing, so now it's time to get ready for the NFL. Well, we're going to go somewhere. We're going to get drafted somewhere, but we don't know where we're going to get drafted at. And so we go. I have my guy out of Arizona, so we go to Arizona. It's draft day. First round, and honestly, guys, I thought I was going to go in the first round. I was a little pissed I didn't get picked in the first round because, you know, I just led the nation in rushing, and so I was upset. My mom was there. She was trying to calm me down. Everybody was trying to calm me down. And so the next day, but before the draft started, my agent told me there's 3 teams that you don't want to go to. And the Cincinnati Bengals happened to be one of them. And so the next day we came up because the first day all they do is the first round. The next day it's the second round through I think it's the 7th round because back then they had 13 rounds. They calmed it down a little bit. But so I get there. And the next day or the next night, they were having a draft, and the Cincinnati Bengals was on the clock, and lo and behold, the phone rings. My agent said it's the Cincinnati Bengals. They want to take you, you know, the first player, 31 player taken in the draft. So I was the first player taken in the second round. And so I came to the Cincinnati Bengals, and I was, you know, loving it. You know, I was a California boy, so I ran into a little money. And so I went and bought all my jewelry, my gold chains, my long hair. You know, I was a California boy. You know, I was saying, well, it's time. When bought me one of them big old Benzes. Oh, I said, we here now. We here, so we going to go down to Cincinnati, and we going to show them what this California boy can do. And so we get down here, and we get to camp. And we're down at Wilmington. That's when we were out at Wilmington. We go through camp, and I get to camp, and we go to rookie camp, and it's the rookies working out, and then 3 days later, the vets come in. Well, our first meeting at training camp, our individual meetings for the running backs, they had me, Stanley Wilson. They had Stanley Wilson as the number 1 fullback. They had me as the number 2 fullback, and then they had a guy by the name of Bill Johnson at the number 3 fullback. Well, Bill Johnson got upset because they put me at the second team fullback, so he left camp. And so when I got here, my number in college was 30. But when I got here, they put me in 31 because Bill Johnson had 30. So they couldn't give me 30. And so when Bill Johnson left camp, I went in to Tom Gray, who was equipment manager. I said, hey, Tom, can I get number 30? He was like, no, you can't. He said, you have to wait 6 weeks before you can get number 30 because after 6 weeks, Bill is officially gone. He can't come back after 6 weeks. So I played in number 31. So we're playing the We're actually playing the New York Jets. But before that, let me tell you this one. Before we did the New York Jets, I flew that lady right there in to Cincinnati, and we were going to game. We were going to play the Cleveland Browns. My two oldest kids at that time were 5 and 2. And so I got up and I started playing some music and I started acting silly. And I was like, Mom, if I score tomorrow, this is what I'm going to do. She's like, boy, you bet not do that. I was like, Mom, I got to. She's like, boy, you bet not. I said, Mom, I got to. And so we scored and against the Cleveland Browns, and I did a little simple thing like this. I jumped in the air and put the ball in between my legs like that. That was my first shuffle. Now, Ricky Dixon, who was our first-round draft choice that year, he came up to me and said, Woods, what was that shit? I said, man, that was my celebration dance. He was like, man, that shit was whack. I was like, what you mean whack, Rick? He said, yeah, man, it was whack. I say, so what you think I ought to do? You think I ought to put some steps to it? He was like, yeah, it put some steps to it. So the whole week, guys, we're getting ready to play New York Jets. The whole week I'm thinking, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? And I couldn't come up with nothing. I just could not come up with nothing. But then 5 minutes before it was time to go out and get ready to get warmed up, it just hit me. I said, Rick, check this shit out. This is what I'm going to do when I score today. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to hop back 3 times and spike the ball. He was like, oh, Ick, man, that's going to be live. That's going to be live. And I tell everybody that I was fortunate enough to be in the right place at the right time. We were winning ball games, and we made it to the Super Bowl. And that was one of the main reasons that the Ickey Shuffle caught on. Other than that, if I was on a losing team, it wouldn't have never caught on, you know. So I was fortunate enough to be in the right place, and by the grace of Yah, I was able to, do something that caught on. And so we went through that, and then so after that, after I do my first shuffle against the Jets, I had 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. I go into Tom Gray on Monday. I say, Tom, it's been 6 weeks. Can I get number 30? He said, oh, man, you just had a great game in 31. Why do you want 30? I said, Tom, if I don't have 30 in my locker come game time, I'm not playing. And I walked out. Now, believe me, I was going to play if I didn't have 30 in the locker. But we get to the locker room, and they're set number 30. So I was real happy about that. And so we was fortunate enough to go and go through that. And then later on, we're getting close to the playoffs. And I'm sitting in my locker, and Paul Brown comes in, and he looks over at me, and he started walking to me. Now, if you know PB comes in the locker room, and he goes straight back to the coach's office. Don't stop, don't talk to nobody, but he goes straight back to the coach's office. And so I'm looking, and he stops, he looks at me, and he starts walking toward me. So my brain is going, what the hell did I do? Why is he coming over here to me? I don't remember doing anything. What's going on? And so he came up and he said, hey, Ickey. I say, hey, PB, how you doing? He said, I'm doing good. He said, I just want to tell you, he said, that dance you do, he said, personally, I don't care too much for it. He said, but my wife loves it. You can do it anytime you get ready. So I was like, all right, baby, we got the green light now, baby. Yes, yes. So that was fortunate. And then if you guys have ever seen our road to the Super Bowl, they're doing him at a press conference, and he does the shuffle as well. So that was unbelievable. So we make it to the Super Bowl. We get there. We You know, unfortunately, we lose to the San Francisco 49ers. Then we come back. Plan B free agency comes in. That very next year, I get the knee injury. Takes me away from the game for that year. And then I come back the following year and have another knee injury in training camp. And so that takes me away for 6 weeks on that injury. And so I got to play maybe one full year, but I still got to play a little bit in between there. But 4 years into it, my NFL career is done. And so, you know, I'm thinking, what can I do now? I went to school for social work, and so I was like, well, come to find out, wasn't a lot of money in that field. And so, the people, they do all that work, and, there's no money in that field. So I said, okay, well, I'll go into sales. So I went into sales. I started, I sold cars, sold meat door to door. I did whatever it took to put clothes on my baby's back and food on the table. And I really didn't care what people thought about me, because it didn't matter what they thought about me. What I thought about me and what I was doing to make sure my babies ate and had clothes on their backs, I could care less what somebody else think about me. And honestly, my slogan, excuse my language, is opinions are like asshole. Everybody has one, and they stink. So I didn't worry about anybody's opinion about me. So I got out there and did what I had to do to make sure my kids had clothes on their backs and food on the table, okay? And so we did that, and then I started a youth foundation. I started to get into doing what I was working on, social work, and start catering to the less fortunate kids who didn't, have mom or didn't have dad around but had mom, like me, Grew up in a one-parent home, so I started working with kids with that type of background and the less fortunate kids. So I did that for probably did that for 6 years. And I coached Little League because my boys were coming up through Little League. So not only was I able to coach them, but I was able to help other kids as well, okay? So I coached them for a while, and then after my boys left Little League, I started coaching a women's football team out there at, we were at Corrane, had a women's football team, and I did that for about 10 years. And I can remember the day my ex-wife came and said that she wanted to try out for the football team. And I said, football team? What football team you trying out for? She said, well, there's a ladies football team. And I kind of chuckled and, okay, ladies football team. Well, I tell you what, sarcastically, if they need a coach, I'll help coach. So she went to the practice, came home. Honey, guess what? I said, hell to the no. I am not coaching no women. She was like, well, you said you would. And being a man of my word, I said, okay, I'll coach. And to my surprise, they actually had some women who could play the game. But the one thing about coaching women and coaching men is you guys hold a grudge. I'm sorry. Y'all hold that grudge forever. I would be, I'd fuss a few ladies out, and I say, hey, listen to me. What happens on the field stays on the field. Don't take it home with you. Don't bring it back tomorrow. It's over with once we leave the field. No, not with a woman. No, sir. Well, I did that for 11 years, ladies, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time doing that. And then tragedy struck, guys. I was on my way to pick her up and take her to work and get my grandson. And on my way to do that, I received a call from my youngest son telling me that Joe couldn't breathe. And so I asked him where Joe was, and he said, I don't know, Dad. I said, well, go find him and call me back. And so he calls me back, and he's in a state of panic. Dad, 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 he's collapsed, he's collapsed. I said, is he breathing? He said, I don't know, Dad, I don't know. I said, well, feel his chest and see is he breathing. And he said, yeah, Dad, barely. I said, call 911. So I'm on the freeway, guys, and I'm doing 100, 110. I'm on the medium. I'm flying. I'm trying to get there. And by the time I pull up, they have him in the back of the ambulance. And so I run up to the ambulance, and I said, excuse me, that's my son back there. What's going on? What's going on? He said, well, Mr. Woods, we're trying to resuscitate him, and then we're going to get him to the hospital. So I get in the car, and I'll follow them to the hospital. We get to the hospital, and as soon as I walk through the door, there's a chaplain there. And best believe I lost it. Hey, what's going on? He said, sir, we don't know anything yet. In a trauma situation, they sent a chaplain in to sit with the family. So they take us back to this room, and we're sitting there, and I don't know how much time went by, but a doctor comes in. And, the first thing comes out of his mouth is he's not going to make it. The first thing comes out of my mouth is you better get your motherfucking ass back in there and get my baby to breathing. And so he goes back in there. They get him to breathing, and he's breathing, but he needs help with the respirator to breathe. And so they airlift him to Children's Hospital. We get down to Children's Hospital, and the doctor tells me and his mom that they showed us a picture of his brain, and you guys know how the picture of a brain looks. It's got lines in it and all that. And the first picture they showed us had some lines in it, and and so they said we'll wait overnight and see if his brain begin to swell. And if his brain begin to swell, that's not going to be good for us. And so we waited, and unfortunately, they take us back into a room, and we look, and when they put this second picture up, I mean, it's pitch black. There's no lines nowhere. Brain has swelled to the point where there was really nothing else they could do. And so we sat there, and they said that they would do some more activities to see if they have a little brain activity. And they did these little tests, and the doctor said, well, we're going to do it one more time and see if we get any reaction, and if not, they're going to have to pronounce him brain dead. So I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. I will never forget that. They pronounced him brain dead, and I couldn't do nothing, guys, but just scream to the top of my lungs because I just lost my baby. And I look over at the clock. The clock read 8:20 on August the 14th is when they pronounced my baby brain dead. And so so they take us to this room, and it's me, his mom, the chaplain, the doctor, and then there's two ladies there that we've been in the hospital for 3 days, and I hadn't seen them. And so chaplain said what he had to say, the doctor said what she had to say, and then they introduced these two ladies over here who were from Life Center. And so when they said the ladies' names, they were from Life Center, and at that time I didn't know what Life Center was. And the ladies were trying to give me their condolences. I said, hey, listen, I don't want to hear that shit. What do you want? The lady said, well, Mr. Woods, we wanted to let you know that Jovante checked yes on his driving permit that he wanted to be an organ donor. Let me tell you, guys, I lost everything that I had in me, and I cussed these ladies upside and down, and, you know, they had to calm me down. They said, no, Mr. Woods, no. That's not, because my whole thinking is when they said they was from Life Center and they was coming to take my baby organs, is that they were going to just take my baby's organs. And I didn't know what they were doing or what they were doing there. And so they apologized. They calmed me down. They said, no, we can only take his organs if you agree for us to take his organs. And so I looked at his mom and I said, well, did you know anything about this? She was like, no, I didn't know anything about this. No, she said, we had talked about it, but I didn't know that he had checked yes on his driving permit that he wanted to be an organ donor. And so I asked her what she wanted to do. She said, well, I don't know. What do you want to do? And I said, well, I don't know. And I said, well, wait a minute. Let me see where he signed on there that he wanted to be an organ donor. I need to see his signature. You know, because we had been practicing signing stuff because, you know, he was getting ready to be a big star too. So we had been practicing signing his autograph. And so I knew what his autograph looked like. And I knew what his signature looked like. So I said, let me see his signature. No, I'm not just going to take your word for it. I want to see his signature. And so they brought out the paper and they blew it up where I could see the signature. And I looked at it, and sure enough, it was his signature. It was his signature because I knew what his signature looked like. And I said, okay, well, that was his signature. And so I looked at his mom and I said, it's not what we want to do. Let's do what he wanted to do. Let's be an organ donor. And so we did that. And with his organs, guys, he was able to save 4 lives. And he was able to help countless. Clap that up. And he was able to help countless others with his tissues. And so when that happened, what I decided to do was start looking and seeing if I can find some type of asthma foundation that I can get behind and, you know, really start trying to push, you know, fighting this deadly disease called asthma. And I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find nothing. You know, I found a little something here. That's because I wasn't talking to you. But I said I couldn't understand you, and that's because I wasn't talking to the phone. You know how your phones just talk to you sometime, and you don't even be talking to them? Technology's something else, ain't it? But I said we got to find something since there's nothing going on out there. And so I decided to start the Jovante Woods Foundation, which we started in 2010. About a month after he passed, we started the Jovante Woods Foundation. And I started going out and raising money, not only to hopefully find a cure, but to educate people on how severe and serious asthma really is. And if I didn't know it either, but I think everybody has their little sheet here. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys were able to read some of the stuff on here about asthma and organ donation. And we also have another fold to our foundation, which is education. Am I running short on time? Okay. We have the every day the asthma mortality rate of 19 has risen 80% from 1980, guys. And asthma has a generic component. Okay, if one parent has it, there's a 33% chance that their child will have it. Well, me and his mom had some asthma, so he had it real bad. Not all of our kids have asthma, but some of them suffer from it mildly. So he was one of those. And then when I first got started with this, there was 15 people dying a day. Now it's 11. So we've made some way. There's 40,000 people who miss work or school due to asthma, 30,000 who have asthma attacks. Then there's 5,000 who visit the emergency room. Now these are on a daily basis, guys. And then you have 1,000 people admitted to the hospital for asthma, okay? The Life Center piece was, like I said, was an unbelievable thing. Never in my wildest dreams did I know my son had checked that he wanted to be an organ donor. But through being an organ donor, we was able to receive some letters and things from the people who received his organs and how their life was changed by his decision to become an organ donor. And, as an organ donor, you can save up to 8 lives and help over 50 lives with your tissue and everything, guys. And my son was a straight A student as well, guys. He must have got it from his mama because he didn't get it from me. Because he was a brainiac, guys. I tell you, he's straight A student all through middle school, all through high school. And I can remember in middle school, he brought home a B. And I thought the world was going to end. I get a report card. It's got 5 A's and 1 B. This is a midterm. Got 5 A's and 1 B, and I'm looking at that, and as a parent, you're smiling. Your baby got 5 A's and 1 B. You're smiling. You're like, oh, yeah, I love this. And I look at him, and his face is tore up. I'm like, dude, what's going on with you? I don't get B's. I say, okay. I say, well, you got to be on here. I say, but you got 3 weeks to get that B to an A. This is only midterm right here. This ain't your final grade. So you got a chance to get it up. And come report card time, believe me, it was up. He was straight A student. So, and we were in a Princeton school district. He was able to attend Princeton High School. I know we're in Hamilton, but that's where he wanted to go. But I did have my oldest son go to the Big Blue. So I was a Big Bluer there for a couple of years. Go Big Blue, go Big Blue. But yeah, guys, that's my story. I hope you guys were able to enjoy it. And, because what I try to do, guys, I just try to talk real life. I don't try to get up here and bull crap nobody or give you any falsehood. I talk from the heart because that's the type of person I am. And I do everything that I do it with a big heart. And I go after it 100%. So we're fighting this deadly disease called asthma that's killing 11 people a day. And I'm in this fight until I take my last breath, because it took my last breath from my baby. So thank you guys for listening to me, and you guys enjoy the rest of your evening.
Could we take a couple of questions?
Oh, yeah. It's Q&A time. Q&A time.
Little Q&A. We got.
Ask me whatever you want to ask me.
Ooh.
If you get too personal, I'll say none of your business. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, Ickey,
Yes.
Watching the Bengals, you were the highlight of all the games.
Well, thank you.
We all loved it. In fact, we were watching one of the Bengals games that they won in the playoffs.
Yes, ma'am.
I was at my daughter's house, and when they made the final score, my son-in-law, who's huge, he was probably one of those defensive players,
Okay.
blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he did the Ickey shuffle.
Well, there you go. All right.
The other thing I love is that, you kind of disappeared from the mainstream for quite a while.
Yeah.
And lately, possibly because of the Bengals, I don't know what, but you're on commercials.
Yeah.
And throughout the season, you've been highlighted with the Bengals.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm so glad to see you and And I think we can all agree, we just always love Ickey Woods.
Well, thank
and
you.
your cause is so admirable.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we
Appreciate
grieve with you.
that. Thank you very much. Well, as far as going on a hiatus, I didn't go on a hiatus personally. You said it out your mouth. The Bengals were losing. Now they winning, and now we back, girl. We back. Say again, sweetheart.
Going to do another commercial this year?
We got some things in the works, so hopefully we'll get it going, and then you never know. Some people, they just come out the blue, especially and I love when the Bengals are winning, because it helps me raise more money for my son's foundation, and so when they're doing good, it helps me do good as well. Yes.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit about the scholarship for athletes?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
That is the 3.8 to be great scholarship. And we started at Princeton, and when we did it, it was pre-COVID. So, when COVID hit, we really wasn't able to do nothing like everybody else. But what we would do is we would give out $6,000 scholarships. We would give 3 to a boy and 3 to a girl. They had to have a 3.8, and they had to suffer from asthma. And so we're probably, as things get better for us, we're going to keep doing that, but then we're just going to add probably 6 more for kids who don't have the asthma. Okay, so, but yeah, we've been doing that, and we've been able to donate over $100,000 to Cincinnati's Children's Asthma Division. So we've been able to do some good things.
Got another one up the back here. I'm just going to make my way down.
Hi, Ickey. Thank you
Hey.
for being here.
No problem.
We saw you play all your games at home because we had
thank you.
season tickets at the time.
Thank you.
And we appreciate everything you've done.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about organ donation.
Yes.
Most of us here in the fourth quarter of our lives, and some of us at the 2-minute warning.
Okay.
But my question is, when we get to be our age, and I'm in my 70s,
Yes.
can we still be organ donors?
Yes, or more likely tissue donors, but organs, if your organs are good, yeah, they could use them. Yeah,
Okay.
so we, I encourage everybody, if you can, to become an organ donor, because you can't take it with you. So you might as well leave it for somebody else to have a better chance at life, And I just, like I said, I shoot straight. Some people get upset with me because I'm real blunt with it, But sometimes you have to be. Anybody else? Don't be scared. I ain't gonna cuss you out, I promise. Oh, there he is. All right.
As a kid, I had asthma,
Yes, sir.
and as I got older, I outgrew my asthma.
No, you didn't outgrow it. It just went dormant.
Well, I never had a problem when I got a little bit older. I could play any sport I wanted to,
Yeah.
and no problem.
Well, you never outgrow asthma, for one. And for two, asthma will go dormant and it may not come back for the rest of your life.
Right.
But then it may hit you at a time when you least expect it. And so don't ever think that you outgrow it, because that's a misnomer. That you never outgrow asthma. It just goes dormant, and you never know what may trigger an asthma attack.
Well, I'm 80-some years old, and it never came back.
Okay, well, you're one of the lucky ones. Let me
Yes.
put it that way.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions for Ricky? I go, they're going to make me work out? Should have put my Fitbit
Oh,
on.
there you go.
Coulda got my
You got
steps.
you got your good sneakers on, don't you?
Tell us about your family. You are alluding to a couple of children, so.
Oh,
just
my
tell us a
my
little bit.
family. Yeah, I was fortunate enough. I was married for. I was with my ex-wife 24 years. We married 17 of those, and through our marriage, we had 6 beautiful children. I had my oldest son is Jermaine. He's 38. Jazz? 39. 39. He's 39. He's got 2 kids, Xavier, which is 18, and Leilani, which is 15. And then my oldest daughter, Amber, she's 36, and she has a daughter, Illyria, who's 15. And then my daughter, Jazz here, she's 33. She's 33, and she has 5 beautiful children. She has my grandson, Carter, who's 12. My granddaughter, Jovante, who's named after Jovante. She's 9. And then Kyrie is 3-4. And then Jade is 2.5. And little man right there, the baby boy of the bunch, he's 1. And so, and then my youngest daughter is Allegra, and she'll be 30. And then Jovante would have been 28, and then my son Aubrey is 20. My youngest son is 26. So Pawpaw's getting a little, memory, memory starting to fade a little bit. But I'm trying to keep it together. I was able to reel that off. So
I'm
I
impressed
try to keep it
that you could remember all the ages.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
everything. That's
Yes,
great.
ma'am. Yes.
Thank you.
No problem.
Great job. Any more questions? Any more questions? They're shy out here.
Don't be bashful. Don't be bashful. You can ask me some Bengal questions. I think we're going to kick Pittsburgh down.
Yep.
Who they? We're going to have to do something to them Buffalo Bills, this character over here talking about, AFC champs around this. Hey guys, thanks for having me.
We've got 4 of those AFC championships.
Yeah.
In a row.
But
Don't talk about the
what
rest
I
of it.
can say though? y'all stole our no huddle offense. You know that, right? You damn copycats. That's what they are, copycats.
I'd like to get out of that rut and see one of us winning a Super Bowl this year. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ickey Woods.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you having me.
Ickey, congratulations. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. Thank you to Ickey. I really appreciate that for a man who took his football and his social work seriously and has achieved all of those incredible goals over his lifetime. Wonderful to have his beautiful family here. We appreciate you coming out. A huge thank you to Mr. Matt Rucker, who put all of this together, introduced us to Ickey. Matt and his team take care of everything in this building, from the light fixtures down to our events and everything in between, and we really appreciate him and what he contributes to the Fitness Center and for bringing Ickey into us today and into our lives in a new and special way. As I said earlier, we knew the football player, but to know the man and his family and what he's achieved and what he continues to give to this community really stands forth, and we really appreciate it. Please put your hands together one more time, Mr. Ickey Woods. Thank you to our friends from Mercy Health. Thank you for coming out today and for your support of the Fitness Center. And to you, ladies and gentlemen, we always appreciate you being here. We ask for a lot at the Fitness Center, but we first and foremost ask you to come and be here, bring friends, and enjoy all we have to offer here at the Fitness Center. I'd invite you to go down to our downstairs second and first floor galleries as you go out. Amazing things to see here. Saturday night, we do have Burning Down the House. And then coming up next month, we have our One City, One Book read. And if you haven't seen it yet, here's one that I prepared earlier. I have a Daughters of Yalta. Would anybody like a book? I have a book in my hand. Hands up there. First one gets it. There we go. These are available all around town. Daughters of Yalta, Catherine Grace Katz, and she will be here, not at the Fitness Center, but over at Miami, as a part of everything that's going on for the One City, One Book read. And we will have some live spies here amongst us. The spooks are coming. So some fun things next month for Daughters of Yalta. We'll see you again very soon here at the Fitness Center. Have a lovely afternoon, and thank you again, Mr. Ickey Woods.